Hey there folks, John here with Through My Lens, and today I'm coming to you with another firearms related video. Today we'll be looking at the RomeoZEro red dot optic from SIG Sauer. Now I've had the P365XL since about July, and I bought it because all indications were that the RomeoZEro was going to be released very soon, shortly after the P365XL. That turned out not to be the case. I didn't get a hold of this particular RomeoZEro until December of 2019. And I did get it directly from SIG. They sent it to me for test and evaluation, and I've had it for a couple of weeks now, and I've been out to a couple of range sessions. I've done some dry fire with it, so I feel like I've gotten a pretty good handle on it in order to do this review. I've fired about 500 rounds during those two live fire training sessions, and overall I've been impressed. Now let's go ahead and talk about some of the specifications here. I'll go ahead and get some footage here while I talk about the specifications. You can see what it looks like mounted onto the 365XL. It's pretty neat. So let's first start talking about the lens area itself. The objective lens diameter is 24 millimeters. That's pretty tiny. The Romeo 1 Pro, by comparison, is 30 millimeters, and I'll get that out and show you a side-by-side here in a moment. But again, as I've used the RomeoZEro, I've really never felt like the window was too small. It's actually pretty similar in size to the Trijicon RMR. Again, shooting the XL with the RomeoZEro, I never had a problem with it being too small or felt like it was too small. Where I did run into some problems is it can be a little tricky to clean this guy. As you can see, my finger barely fits in there. When you put a cleaning cloth in there, it can be really hard to get in and around to clean, especially in the corners. That's why I'm going to recommend that anybody who picks up the RomeoZEro should think about picking up some of these fiber optic swabs, foam tip fiber optic swabs from Rainbow Technology. They can be purchased at rangestore.net. And there'll be a link in the description box to rangestore.net. But those foam swabs are an absolute must because you can use them to get into those hard-to-reach corners of the RomeoZEro. Now let me do some side-by-side comparisons with the RomeoZEro. First, let me show you how similar in size the window is to the Trijicon RMR. I have here a P320 compact that I've had customized, and I've had the slide milled to accept the Trijicon RMR. But if you hold them side by side, you can see that the relative window size really isn't all that different between these two guys. And again, I've been using a Trijicon RMR on my pistols for many, many years, and I've never felt like it was too small. Now, for competition, I tend to use the Romeo 1. This is the Romeo 1 Pro that's on my P320X5, the Legion model. It's been customized by Terran Tactical Innovations, and you can see how much wider. It's not much taller. It's a little bit taller, but you can see how much wider the Romeo 1 Pro is from the RomeoZEro. So and again, this is a red dot that I use in competition. Now the RomeoZEro, when it's mounted, it's polymer, it's very light, and it only adds really less than a half an ounce to the overall weight of the gun. So, you know, if you really won't notice it when you conceal carry this weapon. The reticle, the actual dot itself, is a 6 MOA dot on this particular unit. I had wanted to get a 3 MOA because I have a 3.25 MOA on that Trijicon RMR, but it wasn't available yet. It won't be available from SIG for about another week, so they sent me the 6 MOA version. Having tested it, I'm fine with the 6 MOA. I shoot a 6 MOA dot in competition, so not a big deal. I may actually stick with the 6 MOA because I didn't find that the dot was too big or that it obscured some smaller targets. It's actually a pretty good size to use for concealed carry. So no problem with the 6 MOA. I do like it a lot. Also, I wanted to point out, if the dot should for whatever reason fail, if the battery runs out on you, or if the dot malfunctions and you're in a life-threatening situation, you need to shoot the gun. There are some rear sights built into the RomeoZEro. They're kind of integrated in, and they do kind of line up with the front sight post very nicely. So you do, that's a real nice feature on this particular optic that I like a lot. Now the sides of the RomeoZEro you'll see are stippled. That's to allow you to be able to grab it when you rack the slide. Also, I did test, you can see that the glass is set back in from the outer edges on the front here. So if you want to rack this off your belt or off of a shoe or a barricade, you can without damaging the glass. So that's a very good feature for an optic that could be used for concealed carry, for self-defense. That's pretty good. So again, overall my experience with the RomeoZEro has been pretty positive. No real complaints. On the plus side of things, the dot is very, very bright. There were no issues with dot brightness. There are 8 different brightness levels that you can set, and you can get it very dim for use, as an indoor gun that's going to be on your nightstand. If you want to grab it and it's dark, you don't want a dot that's too bright, you can dim it down. That works out very well. Or you can crank up the brightness when you're outside and have no problem seeing it at all. So no issues with the brightness. If I had to guess, I would say that some of the technology that's in the Romeo 1 Pro is in the RomeoZEro. The RomeoZEro uses a CR1632 battery, and SIG claims a 20,000 hour runtime on that. That's the same runtime that the new Romeo 1 Pro has. So again, that's why I say that I think there may be some shared technology there, which is a good thing. You do have to remove the optic from the firearm to change the battery. There is no battery cover built in, and I would expect that from a package that's this small. It would be difficult to have a top loading with a battery cover to change the battery. In terms of retail price, they came in with a very aggressive price point on the RomeoZEro. It's $259 retail. Again, comparing that to the Romeo 1 Pro, that's $449. So quite a bit less expensive, almost half. That's interesting. I'll talk a little bit more about that price a little later. But right now I want to roll in some footage from the range of me shooting this particular firearm. Now, when it came to working in live fire, I was truly amazed at how capable of a firearm the SIG P365 XL became with the RomeoZEro. This video footage that you're seeing was taken from my most recent live fire training session, where I practiced drawing from my appendix inside the waistband, or AIWB holster. That holster was made by Black Label Holsters, previously reviewed here on the Through My Lens YouTube channel. And whenever I practice drawing from concealment, my goal is to achieve a 1.5 second draw time. Now in competition, I can normally do about a 1 second draw, but that's without any kind of concealing garments to deal with. Moving your concealing garment out of the way to be able to perform your draw stroke usually adds about a half a second to the total draw time, hence my 1.5 second goal for a concealed carry draw. And you'll see in this video segment during the outdoor training session, my times ran from a low of about 1.48 seconds to a high of about 1.63 at a distance of 10 yards or 30 feet. My precision was reasonably good. All my shots stayed within the white painted circle, as you can see. Now folks, this performance is right on par with what I can do drawing my P320 compact from an outside the waistband holster at 3 o'clock. Again, it's truly exceptional, the performance that this subcompact firearm has. It's, in my hands, it performs just as well as a compact or full-size firearm, which really is amazing. I'll also include some footage showing my draw from another angle so that you can observe how little the dot moves. I'm shooting with Blazer Brass 124 grain factory ammo. These aren't gamer loads designed to reduce recoil. This is factory ammunition. The P365 XL can be controlled about as easily, again, as a full-size gun, which just totally blows my mind. Now, in terms of things that I'd like to change about the RomeoZERO, there are a couple. First, the user face can be really annoying on the RomeoZERO. You'll see these little holes here for windage and elevation adjustments. There's one there and one there again on the side. You need a little torque or hex driver that's included with the RomeoZERO to do your windage and elevation adjustments. That's kind of annoying that you can't just do it with a regular screwdriver or a knife blade that you might have in your pocket. The Romeo 1 Pro, you can see that the elevation adjustments here, or the windage adjustment and the elevation, you can use just about anything, again, like a knife blade or even a dime, I think, would work there. Same thing with the Trigicon RMR. No special tools really needed here. You can do that with a coin or with a screwdriver very easily. Additionally, in terms of adjusting the brightness, there is only a single button to use. You can see it right in the back there, almost up against the glass. Now, when you press that button, it will move up the brightness by 1 setting every time you hit it. Again, there are 8 brightness settings. If you have it, let's say you've been shooting the gun outside, you bring it inside, you want to move the setting down a couple. You've got to ladder your way all the way up in brightness until it hits the top brightness level. When it does that, it will flash, and then when you hit it again, it will stair step back down, and then you just get it to the desired brightness level. That's really annoying. I would much prefer that this have individual buttons, up and down buttons for the brightness. That single button design is really annoying, particularly when you go from shooting outside or in or inside to out, and you have to make a pretty significant change. That can be really annoying. So again, the user interface leaves a little bit to be desired. And the second thing that I'm going to talk about sort of really relates to that issue, and that's kind of the price point. I would have added, if it were up to me, I would have added $100 at least to the price of the RomeoZERO. With that additional price point, you could do things like build the RomeoZEro out of aluminum instead of being polymer, like most other optics are made from aluminum, and you could provide a much better user interface. I really don't understand why SIG felt they needed to constrain themselves with the price to hit that low price point. At $259, it's one of the least expensive red dot optics on the market. But when it comes to an electronic device that's being mounted to a firearm I'll be using for self-defense, I really don't want to cheap out. Now, logic says that, particularly at that price, the RomeoZEro is not as robust as the tried and true Trijicon RMR. But, the build quality on my example seems quite good. I don't have any concerns about using it in concealed carry in that kind of a usage. I didn't have any problems whatsoever with it in the 500 rounds I've fired, but perhaps SIG will come out with maybe a sort of a RomeoZEro Pro at a higher price point at some point down the road. Really in the final analysis, the RomeoZEro gets the job done and does have an attractive price point. If you have a P365 XL, this is a no-brainer purchase. You're going to want to get the RomeoZEro. It really does what you would want it to do from a red dot optic standpoint. So there you have it. That's my review of the SIG RomeoZEro red dot optic. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Take care. God bless. We'll see you in the next one.
I hope you've enjoyed this production from the Through My Lens YouTube channel. If you did, please click on the like button and do share the video on social media. If you'd like to see more content like it, please do subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and do check out Through My Lens at www.throughmylens.org.